Hello, my name is Tracy Eisen. Today, I would like to talk to you about an emerging technology called augmented reality. Here is a brief overview of what we will discuss during this presentation. What is augmented reality? How does it compare to VR? And how is it connected and enhancing learning? And how could we incorporate AR in our classroom to MARP? What is augmented reality? Well, it's an enhanced version of reality created by the use of technology by overlaying digital information of an image of something being viewed through a device, such as a smartphone or a tablet. You might be more familiar with augmented reality than you realize. Let's take a look at a couple of examples that you might be familiar with.
Gauge heads-up display.
Check.
4-door preferences from home interface.
Will do so.
In this clip, you see Tony Stark interacting with augmented reality. In this next clip, we see the use of AR in the popular game of Pokemon Go. Now that we understand a little bit more about AR, let's compare it to VR, virtual reality. In AR, you're putting virtual elements on top of the real world. However, in virtual reality, you are simulating the real world. In AR, you have the ability to interact with the virtual elements and be more collaborative, whereas virtual reality completely immerses you in that other world and is less collaborative. Let's take a quick look of a hologram for AR using HoloLens.
Holograms, and you can not only see them, but you can actually touch them and interact with them and play around with them.
So why is it an exciting time for AR? Well, the number of AR users has recently surpassed the number of VR users due to AR's everyday applications. Also, a very large percentage, some data shows up to 77% of Americans own smartphones. And of those smartphones, the majority of them are now AR enabled. Retailers are also beginning to use AR to connect to their consumers. Let's look at a couple clips from IKEA and the Lego store. Here, IKEA is using AR to help customers make decisions. Lego is putting special codes, triggers as they're called, on their boxes. And some department stores are using AR so people can see what they look like in an outfit without physically changing their clothes. So how does AR enhance learning? Well, AR makes abstract ideas more concrete. Since a large percentage of the population are visual learners, AR is able to make visual representations on challenging topics. By making those visual representations, students become active learners, and it increases their critical thinking and creativity. So as we watch the following clip, think about this. A research field experiment was conducted in Taiwan with 21 middle school students broken into 3 groups. Of the 3 groups, only one group was given access to the augmented reality tour. What the research found was those students were more engaged and learned more on their field trip to the botanical gardens than the other groups of students. So where are we seeing AR incorporated into education today? One of the biggest areas that we see augmented reality being implemented is in the field of medicine. AR can also help develop language skills and reduce language barriers between students. AR helps students become active learners, and the more active they are in their education, the more they will learn. So how can you incorporate AR into your classroom? The answer is with Metaverse. Metaverse requires no coding, and both teachers and students can create AR experiences. Okay, so let's check out Metaverse. Metaverse is a web-based augmented reality platform which works with the Metaverse app on phones and tablets. Let's get started by creating an account. You're going to need an email address, create a username, a password, tell them who you are or pick other, and then create account. I already have an account, so we're going to log in. When you first log in and open up, it's going to bring you to your dashboard. Your dashboard has some menus in the upper right-hand corner, some tutorials, pick some topics that you would like to learn about. On the left-hand side, it has your experiences, which is where we are now, all your augmented reality creations. Collections would be for teachers. This is not a free service, but is an area where you can manage students' creations. You have your favorites, any walls or polls you have. And the last one is the Discover. Under Discover, they have already created some augmented reality experiences, many of which you could use, or you could remix, create or modify them to work for you. Let's go back to experiences. We're going to create a new experience. So we're going to go up here in the right-hand corner, click on Create a New Experience, and we open our storyboard. Our storyboard has at the upper left-hand corner the capital M for Metaverse. It'll take you back to your dashboard. Here we're going to title our experience. We're just going to put My First Experience. We also have a undo button. We have a zoom out, a zoom in. Over here on the right-hand side, we have a test. When we're done creating, we scan the QR code to test out our augmented reality experience. There's also a shareable link. Then we need to publish. You cannot share unless you have a published, finished AR experience. So let's get started creating our first AR experience. So in order to create an experience, it's kind of like a storyboard in that you connect scenes together to create your story. So they've started us here with a character scene, and the character scene has three parts: a text, an area for text, an area for a graphic character, and areas for buttons where the user can be interactive and move to the next scene. So let's type in some text, find a friend. Let's pick a character. So when we click on it, it's going to give you a bunch of choices. You have the 2D, the 3D, some animated, although these tend to be for iOS, and then some Jiffy Cat stickers. So let's go back to 2D. Let's just pick a bear as our graph. And so when you would view this as an AR experience on your phone or tablet, what you're going to see is the text box, the character, and the button without the background. The background is going to be the real world. So let's add a button. We now have text, character, and when we want to add text to our button over here on the right-hand side, we're going to say, please take a selfie with your friend. Okay? And so now we have all the parts: text, character, and a button. Now, it's a pretty short story with just one scene. So you need to add more scenes or something else called a block to create your experience. So over here on the right-hand side, we're going to click on Add New. And there's a bunch of different types of scenes, but since we asked them to take a selfie, we're going to add the camera scene. Okay, and notice that these are separate and individual, but we want to connect them. So when the user clicks on the button, we want it to move to the selfie scene. So if we click this little orange button, and over here on the right-hand side, you have two choices. You have a drop-down menu to connect it to scene 2, and then it connects it with a line. Or if we undo that and we click the button again, there's just this one-click button here, and then you just click the scene that you want it to connect to. So we now have our first character scene, the direction of please take a selfie with your friend. We have a camera scene where they will take a selfie, And then we could keep adding different scenes. So for example, here's a dialogue. We could ask a question that they would have to respond with text. There's blocks. Under Google Vision, for example, there's this happy block, and you would connect a scene to the happy block, and then the happy block gives you a different menu. And this is where you can do the if, then, or what kind of situation, where if the person smiles in the picture, then you could move them on to one scene, and if they don't smile, you could say, oops, you forgot to smile, and then send them back to the selfie scene. All right, so that's how we create our AR experience. Once we are finished with our experience, we're going to go over here and try the test. Once we're done with test, we're going to click publish. We're going to make sure we have our experience name. We want to do a description, type in a small little description, and then click publish. However, before you publish, I would highly suggest you make sure that you double check the security features on your AR experience. Do you want it to be public, or is it specifically for a group, or is it going to be unlisted? Unlisted, when you're working with students, probably is the best option, and then you could just provide the link or the QR code for your students to access. If you want your students to be able to remix or copy it and add to it or modify it, then you would keep this clicked. If not, you would unclick the cloning button. Here are my references, and I hope you enjoy jumping into the world of AR.